Good morning, students. I'm here with my morning tea in my living room. Just missing you all, basically. I think that's one thing that surprised me so far, even though it's just day 2 of online learning, is that I really miss interaction. I don't think I realized that after being at school all year and then having to do social distancing, that I would go from talking to 60 something people a day to pretty much just one, because it's me and Keon here at home, just the two of us, and we're already going a little crazy. So I wanted to make these videos because even though we can't talk face to face and we're not even video conferencing right now, it's giving me the feeling of interacting with you guys, and hopefully if you watch this video you can enjoy it and feel like we're sharing part of our day together too. So here I am with my Earl Grey tea. This is a mug that I got in New Hampshire. Tazo is my tea brand. If you are into tea, this is my favorite Earl Grey, because Earl Grey is just plain black tea, but it's got a citrus flavor in it called bergamot. You can see the rinds of the bergamot on the outside of the box. It took me a long time to figure out that it was a citrus fruit, and that's why it tastes the way it does. But it's how I start every morning, is with tea. And it's not always the same kind. Maybe in another video I'll have a different kind of tea. But for today, it's Earl Grey. So I just kind of wanted to share some things with you guys. Some English related, some not. First off is what I am reading right now. I'm reading The Stand by Stephen King. It's absolutely ginormous. I wasn't sure if I wanted to read it at all this year. I got it for $1 at a library book sale, which is why it's kind of like falling apart. I had to tape it back together a little bit. So if you have a crappy copy of As I Lay Dying, I know how you feel. But I felt like I could read it now because my goal for this year is to read 45 books. And I've already read 10. And so I'm in a good place with that goal. So I feel comfortable that reading this book right now won't throw me off track with reading that many books. And also, since we have all this free time now, I kind of want to take advantage of it. And reading this book, it's the perfect time to do it. So I'll let you know how it goes, but basically it's about a horrible flu. In the book, the flu is much worse than the coronavirus that we have been dealing with. And it basically turns into a pandemic and then an apocalypse. So it's kind of a slow start, but it's kind of spooky reading it because we're facing a pandemic ourselves. But I know the sickness in this book is much more deadly than the coronavirus, so I'm doing okay. All right, so that's what I'm reading right now. Let me check my list of what I wanted to talk about. All right, so I don't get to do mindful moments with you guys anymore because we're at home, which sucks. I did post a video yesterday in the journal assignment that you guys have to do for tonight, and it's just like a YouTube guided mindfulness thing, so hopefully that was helpful to you if you decided to watch it. I just wanted to give you guys another resource. So we haven't practiced this a lot in class together, but there are a lot of different ways to move your breath in specific ways, and kind of with counting or the kinds of breathing that you're doing, and we haven't done much with that. But I wanted to share a technique with you. It's called box breathing. And the way that it works is you inhale for 4 seconds, you hold the breath for 4 seconds, you exhale for 4 seconds, and then you guessed it, you wait another 4 seconds before you take another breath. So it's kind of this like 4, 4, 4, 4, like they call it box breathing, even on all sides of your breath. And Headspace has this really cool, no, it's not Headspace. It's just a GIF that I found online, and basically it counts for you, and the circle is helpful because it changes size. So here, I'll show it to you. So we hold 2, 1, breathe in, 3, 2, 1, hold, 3, 2, 1, exhale, 2, 1, and hold, 2, 1. So if you follow this pattern with your breath, if you have trouble focusing in mindful moments that we do in class, doing something like this where you have to pay attention to your breath with a specific count can help you focus more on your breathing if your thoughts tend to wander. And I've done this before, and sometimes I find myself just getting, like, the rhythm of it kind of entrances you and you get kind of lost in the breathing in a good way. So it's called box breathing, and I'm going to send this to all of you guys if you want to try it. I recommend it. It's just a cool little mindful technique if you're looking to practice that during this online learning time. All right, and then I just have a couple of things I wanted to read to you guys. Because I'm an English teacher, I gotta do it. So, this book is called 50 Days of Solitude by Doris Grumbach. She went up to Maine, well, she lives in Maine, but she went to a more remote area in the winter and spent 50 days talking to no one else. Kind of Henry David Thoreau-ish, but in my opinion, even more alone, which is pretty cool. It's an interesting experiment that she did to see what her writing would turn into. And I just thought of it when I was looking through my bookshelves back there. This morning I saw it and I was like, what better book is there to read from when we all have to stay home and kind of embrace solitude a little more than we normally would. So there's this part right at the beginning, it's on page 2. And she says, let me see. At first I found I missed another voice, not so much a voice responsive to my unexpressed thoughts as an independent one speaking its own words. On occasion I spoke aloud, only to surprise myself. My voice sounded low, toneless, and coarse. I thought it would be agreeable to be answered in another, more pleasing tone, even to be contradicted gently. There was a reward for this deprivation. The absence of other voices compelled me to listen more intently to the inner one. I became aware that the interior voice, so often before stifled or stilled entirely by what I thought others wanted to hear, or what I considered to be socially acceptable, grew gratifyingly louder, more insistent. It was not that it spoke great truths or made important observations. No. It simply reminded me that it was present, saying what I had not heard it say in quite this way before. It began to point out the significance of the inconsequential, of what I had overlooked in my hunger for what I had always before considered to be the important, the big things. The noise of the world suddenly shrank to what this new voice told me, and I became aware that, with nothing to interrupt it, it now commanded my entire attention. I listened hard to it, more intently than I had to the talk of my friends in the world. In this way, living alone and quiet, with no vocal contributions from others, no sounds except music from beyond my own ear, I was apt to hear news of an inner terrain, an endolithic self, resembling the condition of lichens embedded in rock. So what I love about that passage is she's talking about realizing that when you step away from the world, you become more aware of your inner world. And I think this connects a lot to stuff that we've done with mindfulness and trying to just take a break from everything that's going on around you and pay attention to what's going on inside of you. And obviously for her, being alone by herself for 50 days in the dead of winter, it's a lot easier to do that when you have no worldly distractions. And I know that at home right now, you've got your cell phone, you've got the news, the TV. Hopefully you're not totally alone. I'm sure you're home with family, parents, siblings, friends. So we're not experiencing quite the exact form of solitude that Doris Grumbach had, but I think there's still an opportunity for us to try and turn this experience into something where we can learn more about ourselves and become a little more connected to ourselves and what we care about, rather than worrying so much about what other people will think of us or what other people care about. Yeah. All right. Final reading. Mary Oliver's book, 1,000 Mornings. She is a great poet. If you're interested in poetry, she's a great place to start. She's an American author. She only died recently, and her poems don't have a lot of crazy, hard to understand words. A lot of times they're just about nature and animals, and they're very accessible. So if you're not really sure where to start with poetry, I would recommend Mary Oliver. And this poem has the same name as the book, 1,000 Mornings. All night my heart makes its way, however it can, over the rough ground of uncertainties, but only until night meets and then is overwhelmed by morning, the light deepening, the wind easing and just waiting, as I too wait. And when have I ever been disappointed? For a red bird to sing. I'm just going to read it one more time. 1,000 Mornings. All night my heart makes its way, however it can, over the rough ground of uncertainties, but only until night meets and then is overwhelmed by morning, the light deepening, the wind easing and just waiting, as I too wait. And when have I ever been disappointed? For a red bird to sing. And to me, when she's talking about nighttime and darkness and the uncertainties, and that's definitely a metaphor of, times in life when you're not sure of things. And I think we're all in a time like that right now because we don't know how long this pandemic is going to last, how long we're going to be out of school. But she talks about, most of the poem is about when, just at that moment when night begins to turn to day and there's light introduced into the darkness, and she's waiting for the bird to sing. She says red bird, and I'm not sure if that's a specific kind of bird or just the term for a bird that she hears sing in the mornings. But it just kind of made me feel nice, because even though we're in this situation, and based on a lot of people's journal entries that I've read, I know a lot of you are frustrated that we don't have time together and you have to figure things out on your own, online, to an extent, because of course I'm always here, your teachers are always here to help you. This time will end. And if we think positively right now, and we try to find some goodness and create some goodness out of it, it's gonna be okay. Anyways, I'm here with my tea. I'm gonna go drink this now, because I thought I would during the video, but I just talked so much that I didn't get around to it. I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you're finding ways to stifle the boredom. If you are struggling in any way, let me know. I'm here if you guys have questions. I'm sure we could figure out like a video chat if we need to, if that's helpful, because I know face-to-face interaction is really important for learning and for sanity. So just let me know if you guys need anything. I'm here for you. I miss you guys so much. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.